Welcome everyone again to the 8th webinar. In this one, we're going to give detailed explanations around the equipment for hand cycles. So we start with a picture here. And Thanos, is this a recumbent position hand cycle?
This is not a recumbent position hand cycle. This is a kneeling position hand cycle. It's allowed for UCI in a number of events, but is not allowed in the paratriathlon competition.
Okay, what about this one in the next picture?
This is what we call a recumbent position hand cycle, according to specifications that we have in our rules.
Okay. Obviously, here you can see a picture of the so-called recumbent. They come in different materials, and the specifications are maximum 2.5 meter length, and then the width, the total width, it goes from 55 to 70 centimeters. This is measured from the lowest and most inner position of the back wheels. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you have different angles or straight back wheels. What you have to measure is the lowest inner position, meaning that unites both rims. We will explain later how to do the template on the floor, but obviously it's a similar position of what we mentioned with the tandem. That you have some markers on the floor, and based on this, you can identify if it's meeting the specifications.
There are a number of rules again that you need to check on the hand cycle, besides the width and the length that Eric mentioned before. As far as concerned the wheels, the front wheel needs to be between 406 millimeter to 622 millimeters, and the same with the back. This is actually the wheel without counting the tire. The hand cycles, they should have a mirror. The mirror can be fixed on the hand cycle or on the athlete's helmet, but it's quite important. You need to have a protection around the crank, so the athlete will not have an accident when it's coming close to the crank. And the athlete has to be positioned in a way that his center between the eyes is either exactly at the center of the crank or higher than this one. The easiest way for us to be able to measure this is by asking the athlete to sit, to take his position, the driving position of the hand cycle, and then with the ruler, first we measure where is this center point between the eyes from the ground, and again measuring where is the center of the crank. So if this distance is equally or lower, then so the center of the eyes is higher than the center of the crank, then obviously the athlete is taking the proper position. Please keep in mind that the athlete should sit with their feet against the footrest pad. So it should not have a gap between the point there. If they have a gap, that means that during the race, the athlete will go even lower. So what you have measured is not applicable anymore. You have to be quite strict on this measurement because it's poorly on athlete safety, and quite often we see athletes racing but they have to keep their head on the side because they cannot see in front of them. Some additional rules that exist around the hand cycle is the safety bar, the famous safety bar. This is a bar that's placed at the back of the hand cycle, and it's used for protecting the rider from any bicycle that comes from behind. So it doesn't allow any front wheel to come between the two back wheels and hit the athlete. In order for us to do the measurements of the safety bar, we are using a specific tool. These tools are sent to all the events, and these tools are created according to the specifications that the safety bar should follow. The specifications are that this safety bar has to be placed 280 millimeters from the ground, plus minus 10 millimeters, and we are using this tool on the way that the photo is showing for measuring this. The diameter of the tube, of the safety bar tube, needs to be bigger or equal than 18 millimeter. So there is a hole on this tool, and we want the bar not to fit between, not to fit through this hole. Additional to this, the safety bar needs to be a maximum 50 centimeters away from the back wheels, plus minus 2 millimeters. And again, we are using the safety bar for the specific tool for making these measurements. The last thing is that the safety bar needs to be plugged on both sides. The material that we are using needs to be a hard material, and it needs to be a proper one for affording any kind of pressure and kind of crash that we have. And this is purely for the athlete's safety. In this photo, you can see more details of the specific tool and how the technical officials are using it for measuring the safety bar that fits behind the back wheels. Again, according to our rules, the hand cycles, they should have 2 brakes. In the photo here, probably it's not really...
This is the front wheel?
Correct, yes, and so on the front wheel, you can have cases where both of the brakes are applied there. We have cases where there are hand cycles with disc brakes at the back. Disc brakes are allowed, similar with all the bicycles for the draft illegal competition. But we need to make sure that there is an additional brake on the front wheel if we have disc brakes at the back. So this is something that we have to monitor continuously. As Eric said, for measuring the width and the length of the hand cycle, we are following exactly the same process like the tandem. We are creating a frame on the ground, and with this frame, we are making sure that we have the proper size of the hand cycle. So Eric, in one of the World Championship, I think it was London some years ago, one of the athletes came
Alanya.
With this, or was it Alanya?
Yeah, well, the first time we saw him was Alanya. Maybe
Okay.
he was also in London.
Yeah. So an athlete came with this bicycle. Is it a recommend position bicycle?
Yes,
or
we
a
do.
hand cycle?
Yes, we do consider it a recumbent. He obviously is with the legs stretched in front of him and with his buttocks and lower back bracing on the backrest. So we do consider it a recumbent bicycle. Then the main specifications you would have to look at are obviously the size of the wheels and what we discussed before, the line between the eyes and is it at least above the middle axis of the crank? In this case, it is. And the total length of the hand bike was clearly within the specs. And what this athlete did not have at the beginning was a safety bar, but they actually managed to build one on site with the specifications that we provided them. So it was good to go.
So this is obviously an old type of recombinant position hand cycle. It can be used. It has a totally non-aerodynamic position, exactly. and the specific athlete has a huge disadvantage compared to the other athletes with the new carbon hand cycles they are using. But it fits the rules and the specifications that we have, so it can be used. What about this one? Is it a recombinant position hand cycle?
This one, as you can see in this in the center part, it has a specific plate with some sides that is obviously not creating the position that we are looking for in a recumbent, but to actually fold your legs under your buttocks and with the main bracing happening on the knees. So this is a handbag that is not allowed because it's for kneeling position racing.
Exactly. So these are all the specifications around the hand cycle. You need always to check the rule books for more detailed description of this specific